Izuku and Overhaul would clash in the main part of the hangar of the ship, as Aoyama would retreat into the reserve bunker. He always had to be prepared for the worst case scenario, but still, to think that Izuku still had this much tenacity left within him. Thankfully, he had a lot of powerful friends. If his parents left him anything, it was with the funds needed to get in contact with powerful individuals. Among them, a certain industry that didn't have a problem with reverse engineering tech to their advantage. You see, when they kidnapped Izuku, they used that broken hunk of armor he was trapped in to their advantage, reverse engineering the tech as best they could. Aoyama had on standby what he called the Iron Legion, around 200 or so AI-operated drone suits, all based on Izuku's Iron Man armor. If you're wondering, these are based off of the hammer drones created from the Iron Man 2 movie. With these drones on full display, he figured the best he could do was drag down a hero's name. The drones would be launched. Izuku would get an alert of what was taking place from the hangar, as by group, the 200 Iron Legion would begin making their descent towards Japan. Izuku cursed under his breath as he continued fighting against Overhaul. He would get in touch with Momo to let her know what was happening. "Izuku?" Momo would call out. "Yeah, Aoyama, he copied my suits. He's created an army of robots. They're heading straight for Japan." "What?" "Look, there's not much time. I need you to gather anyone you can. Take them down to the Iron Hall. Give them a suit and tell them to suit up and get ready for battle." "What? Where are you?" "It doesn't matter. I have to stop the airship. You've got to take care of that army." It was left on Momo. Thankfully, she knew some people she could call, although it was very last minute. And, if only to add insult to injury, Aoyama also kept a couple of villains on speed dial, among them being the Hobgoblin, who was ready to descend upon the streets of Japan and set it ablaze. Thankfully, Momo knew some people that she could call to help in a bind. Among them being Pravita, who, upon being up to date on everything that was going on, threw on his hero suit immediately and went into action. "I'll take care of the Flying Goblin. You deal with that Iron Army." Momo would alert the other pro heroes, gearing up into the Iron Heart armor and preparing for a fight. Melissa prepared as the Wasp. Mei Hatsume, she got a chance to try out the Quirk Buster armor. Lemillion and Todoroki would also join them, along with Kirishima, Sue, Ochako, Sir Night-Eye. Even the likes of Endeavor, Fat Gum, Hawks, and other pros were gearing up and getting ready. They were going to head off the army at the pass before they could make their way to the mainland and harm the innocent. The school culture festival would still be continuing on as normal, although there was an alert that was going to have to be put out. Thankfully, most of the festival had come to the close, so now getting everyone evacuated would be a lot easier. But still, it was cutting it pretty close. Izuku and Overhaul would continue their fight on the ship, with Overhaul changing and warping the environment, Izuku blasting through all of it with the likes of his armor, powered with One for All. "You just don't know when to quit, do you, huh? Always want to play the shut up!" Before Overhaul even had a chance to continue with his miserable speech, Izuku would round and punch him in the face once again. "All you do is talk. It's annoying." Your holier-than-thou attitude, acting as if you're somehow God. You have a quirk just like everyone else, and you choose to use it for your own evil ends. You could have done so much good, Chisaki. You could have made a difference in this world. But no, you choose it for your own selfish ambitions. And what's worse, you harm an innocent girl that had nothing to do with it. You make me sick. And what's worse is that you have the gall to talk as if you're in the right. You don't know anything. So don't act like I know you enough. I know your character. I know what type of man you really are. And you're the type of man, the type of human being that makes me sick. You are a disease on the world, and I'm the cure, because I'm going to rid you from it. In the meantime, the pros would engage with the 200 Iron Legion. Overhead, the city would become bedlam as the heroes engaged with the robotic menaces. Endeavor leading the charge with the pros as they ripped and destroyed through a good chunk of them. Momo and Melissa flying through the air respectively, dealing with another group. May was rampaging through the streets with the Quirkbuster armor, taking down horde after horde while Lemillion ripped them apart. They were making good progress, and in the mix of it all, Pravita dealt with the Hobgoblin. The Goblin was not shy about using civilians as hostages that didn't go too kindly with the Spider-Man. In another part, Shang was continuing his fight with Death Dealer, protecting Izuku's mother as he fought off against the assassin who once worked for his father. Turn back from your evil ways, Kaya. It doesn't have to be like this. Father is gone. You don't have to. You are a traitor. You betrayed your father, the master, the man who gave you everything. You are a disgrace. What's the point in fighting? There's nothing left. The 10 rings are gone. You think so? As they continued in their battle, Shang, finally having enough, would pin a kunai to her throat. You talk so much about me and my father. Perhaps I should do in this situation what my father would do to someone that opposed him. You won't. You are too kind. You do not have the heart. A lot of people have told me that. And unfortunately, they don't live to regret it. Before Shang could do so, Inko would stop him. Please, don't! What? It's not what a hero would do. Please, don't kill her. That moment of hesitation was all that Kaya needed. Kicking Shang in the face, she would flip back as Shang went on the defensive. She would get an alert of what was going on. What? Then I guess we have no choice. Kaya would begin to retreat. You're running away? The rules of engagement have changed. She is no longer a target. You, on the other hand, it's far from over. Before leaving, she threw the phone at Shang, before throwing down smoke bombs and disappearing. Shang immediately caught the phone and held it up, knowing that someone must have been on the line. Hello? Who is this? It's been a long time, brother. Jean? Jean, is that... No need to stand on ceremony. After all, we're far past that, aren't we? Jean, what are you? I just wanted to say thank you. You actually did me a huge favor. You got the old man out of the way. Jean, I don't know what you're planning, but this is all you need to know. The 10 rings are in good hand. Now, you and Mother, you've already made your choice. So, I'm only going to say this once. I have respect for you and for our family. You don't get in my way, I won't get in yours. The 10 rings are no longer none of your business. I've made it expressly clear that as of today, you and Mother are no longer targets. You're to be left alone. But if you cross me, you try to get in my way, you try to stop me, and I will gladly do what our father could not. Goodbye, brother. The line would be cut in that moment, as Shang was now left with more questions than answers. He thought that his brother, after his exile, had gone off on the reservation. He didn't think that he'd make his way back, and even more so that he would take over the 10 rings. Shang only cursed under his breath, because he knew that something like this was far from over. On the main hull of the ship, Izuku and Overhaul continued their fierce battle. Izuku had taken some damage with his armor, but Chisaki was also feeling the brunt force of the Iron Man himself, the two colliding multiple times. Izuku had to finish this in one last strike, to take him out once and for all. As Chisaki would attempt to morph the entire room into spikes, looking to impale Izuku from every which way, Izuku used the power of One for All, a flash of 100%, as he dashed straight towards Chisaki, punching him square in the face, putting the full brunt of 100% into that attack. The armor on his left arm would completely shatter away, breaking off as Chisaki went flying through multiple walls of metal, being knocked unconscious. Izuku would use that time to make his way through, attempting to find wherever Ayama had gone to. Ayama had managed to catch up with some of the scientists. Taking Amadeus hostage, he held him at gunpoint as they arrived to the hangar where the bomb was being placed. He was going to drop it himself, and nothing was going to stop him. Izuku's left arm felt like it was on fire. He didn't know how many bones he had broken, but still, all that mattered was getting to Aoyama. He eventually tracked him down, finding where he was at the base. I wouldn't come any further if I were you. Not unless you want another death on your hands. It's over, Aoyama. When are you going to stop this madness? You've lost. Your plans, everything, they're all gone. You know what's funny, Izuku? You talk a big game. You talk mightier than most. And yet you're still trying to play the hero. I thought you wanted to kill me. Well, Iron Man, take your shot. Go on. As long as you kill me, what's one more death? Amadeus, don't worry, Izuku. It'll be all right. Don't make promises you can't keep, Aoyama would say. You know, I didn't want it to be like this. Really. But I guess in the end of the day, you and I are both messed up. We try so hard to live up to the expectations that others set upon us. And yet it feels like we never can. Truth be told, Izuku, I have a lot of respect for a guy like you. You were born quirkless, but you didn't let that get in your way. You forged, you made your own path, regardless of what anyone else says or does. You continued, you pressed forward, and you made yourself a hero. You know, sometimes I wonder if things had played out differently, if maybe I could have had a chance at that. You could be anything you wanted to be, Izuku would say. You don't have to be a hero. You could be anything. You chose this path. You blamed everyone else for your failures, for your lot in life. We can't always choose the cards that were dealt. What your parents did to you was horrible. I can only imagine being used as a puppet, not having any autonomy for yourself. You weren't given a choice. You had a choice forced upon you. And yet, all of these other choices you've made on your own. You chose to kill my friend. You chose to kill other innocent people. You tortured and you pillaged. And now you're looking to kill more innocent people just to fulfill some stupid vendetta. It won't change what happened. Nothing will change that. That's something you'll have to always live with. And I'm sorry for that. But I can't let you hurt innocent people anymore. I will do what I must. In that split second, Amadeus would push back against Aoyama. Aoyama shooting him in the shoulder. Izuku would blast a gun out of Aoyama's hands. Taking the moment, Aoyama would be thrown out of the room into Izuku by Amadeus as he shut the door behind them, trapping him inside with the bomb. "What are you doing?" Izuku would say to Amadeus. "This thing's already on a set course. If I don't stop it now, your whole alma mater is gonna get blown sky high." "Then what are you doing?" "We're still over water. If I can reverse the polarity now, I can cause a self-contained explosion here." "Are you serious? You'll die!" "It's all right. After all, you're not the only one that gets to play hero today, huh?" "I'm not letting you do this. I can help you. We can..." "There's no time. It's either we blow it up here or it gets blown up over there. And your suit's already damaged. You're not going to be capable of stopping it. Just get everyone off the ship, all right?" "Amadeus, It's all right. It's cool, I promise." Izuku yelled to the top of his lungs. He knew he didn't have a choice. He picked up Aoyama and dragged him out into the main hull. Momo would arrive. There were a few other flying crafts that were coming in the distance. They were looking to help any way that they could. Izuku would explain that the other scientists here on the ship needed to be taken off. Chisaki and Aoyama would be taken into custody, as Izuku went flying through to find where Eri had been placed. "Eri? Eri, where are you?" "I'm over here." Eri, Yuri quickly rushed over to him. "Are you okay? Are you alright?" She would nod her head. "Good. We're getting out of here, okay? You're safe now." With that, they would fly away from the ship, Izuku and the others watching on. The explosion was bright and radiant. Izuku sighed, though, knowing what had been lost in that moment. Another rescue team was sent to the island where Melissa's father was, along with the other scientists who had been taken captive along with the hostages. On the island, they were able to find the body of Shinso. As they were all brought back together once again, everyone elated to see that Izuku was safe and alright. There was still a bit of sadness. Sir Night-Eye, nothing he saw could have prepared him for this of all things. As Shinso's body was taken away, Izuku would take the time to be with his family, taking time to reflect on all that he had gone through. In the meanwhile, there was one thing that was going through his mind. When Izuku went to the morgue to see Shinso's body one more time, though, he had one idea. It was a long shot, as he took out a device. With permission from Shinso's family, a family that grieved the loss of their son, he used the device to scan over Shinso's brain. The brain is a tricky thing. It's a complicated piece of work, but even in death, there's still many things that you can glean from it. After taking the proper scans and measurements that he needed, Shinso was placed to rest. In the meantime, both Overhaul and Ayama, they were being transported, likely taken to be properly registered and more or less locked up in maximum security prison, if not worse given the death sentence. But the convoy carrying them would be stopped by blue flames. Shigaraki and the League of Villains. If Shigaraki had learned anything in his life, it was that a true game master has to always be patient. You can't go rushing into things, doing this here and that there. You have to bide your time. You have to play it out. With the convoy destroyed and the two criminals left in their shackles, Shigaraki couldn't help but feel glee. My, oh my, how the mighty have fallen. You two were supposed to change the world, and yet here you are. I must say, for having such high ambitions, you're both really stupid. Let's get to you, Overhaul. For someone that hates quirks, you're truly fond of yours. Shigaraki would touch Overhaul's arms. That'll do real damage if we don't stop it. But here, let me give you a hand. Just like that, both of his arms were gone. It wasn't supposed to be like this. He didn't have his arms. He couldn't save Pops. No. Give him back. Give him back. Give him back. Aw, there's no need to cry. I liberated you. Now you're free. You're free from quirks. You're free from everything. There, it'll be all right. Aoyama was even more fearful as Shigaraki walked over to him. Your plan was to destroy all quirks. I don't know why Master was ever fond of the likes of you. You were nothing more but a plaything. Truly villainous, but in the end, you lacked conviction. You say you hate this world? Well, no worry. I'll make sure you never have to see it. No. Get away from me. Stay away. Don't touch me. The once loud and crying shrills of terror were silence. The boy Hyuga Aoyama, reduced only to ash that scattered in the wind. In the meantime, while UA, its staff, reeled from the thrills of victory and from the agonies of loss, Izuku took time to himself. Whenever he wasn't in class or with his mother or those he cared for, he was working in the lab by himself. For now, it was only a pitch, a long-winded dream. But the power of One for All had opened his mind to many new and untapped possibilities. Some might consider this a view of messing with taboo, but for Izuku, he only saw a chance. Whether or not he'd be able to revive him, he had no idea. But thankfully, he had access to extraordinary resources. And to see what vibranium was capable of, that was also worth exploring. As Izuku prepared to leave his laboratory, he spoke to the AI in charge of watching over his latest project. Let me know when it's at 100%, Jarvis. Yes, sir, Master Midoriya. We will let you know when Project Vision is complete. The capsule will retreat back into its storage container, waiting for its awakening. As Izuku left the lab, he fixed the tie around his neck, making sure that his suit was clean and pristine. Because today, he wasn't going to class, no. Today, he had some other business to attend to. There was going to be a meeting between Izuku Midoriya, his teacher Aizawa, Principal Nezu, and a few key other representatives in the hero community. They were going to be meeting with the Hero Public Safety Commission, or the HPSC. Because after what had transpired in the last 48, 72 hours and the things that had gone down in the last month, it could no longer be ignored. There was a new power rising in the world. Individuals with extraordinary gifts, despite not having a quirk. New and innovative technologies were now being introduced into the world. And it was time to determine, were they friend or foe? This concludes My Hero Academia Armored Adventures. What if Deku was Iron Man? Season 2, Part 7. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. And stay tuned tomorrow afternoon as we continue with What If Deku Was Iron Man, Season 2, Part 8. But that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.